Good morning. It is another edition of Common Ground, a morning show podcast. I am your host, Alex Gettlin.
I am your other host, Rachel LaForce.
We are comedians. We are married. We are with child soon, expecting.
Well, I'm currently with child. He's not, yeah. But he'll also be here soon.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm very excited. I don't think I've ever been as excited about anything.
Well, good. I would hope so. This is a pretty big one, I would say, in the grand scheme of life events.
Well, for sure.
I don't know. Sounded a little bit like you had a different answer.
Well, plenty of people are not excited about children they have. I mean, lots of people have kids on accident or find out later in life they had a kid they didn't know about, and it's a very different type of reaction.
That's true. But I'm
stoked.
Within the context of us knowing and actively trying.
We didn't have to try that hard. I mean, it was one and done, baby.
Okay. This is a family podcast.
Is it?
No.
Man, okay, so we're coming.
Well, technically it is because our engineer is your brother. So technically, this is a family affair.
That's true. Our engineer is my younger brother, Scott Gettlin. My co-host is my wife. And in utero is our son. Your phone is not, you're trying to rest it on the armrest. It's not going to stay.
All right, I can tell it's really bothering you.
Well, I've noticed you use your phone a lot during the pod.
I do.
I never have my phone out during the pod.
Don't say never. That's not true.
This year, 2021, since we've been in our new own space, I never have my phone during the podcast.
The first couple episodes, you had it up.
Let me back up. Yes, the first episode of this year, I had the phone because I was using it to try and read comments from the live viewers, and then we realized how distracting it was. And I was like, this is the no phone zone, baby. I am focused.
All right. So what do you got for me this week?
Well, I got a few articles, but I was going to say, we finished shooting all of our episodes for Highly Unlikely.
Yep.
We're in the post-production editing phase now. I'm really excited for it coming out in a little bit. It's very fun, but it was a busy week. We shot 2 episodes. There was a lot of work leading up to shooting, getting all the prep ready, and then post that, I was doing a lot of editing work, and man, I haven't had a job in a while where I'm so
Period.
That's not true. Boo. Where I have to
funny.
self-focus and be at the computer, and I really come to like the editing process. I don't think I would enjoy it for someone else's project, but I really do enjoy it for ours because it's, something I love, a show I created, you've helped me produce it, and so it's kind of fun to work on it, but it is really tedious. And it is really exhausting. I was getting it not having a regular job in so long, I forgot. I'm how tired could I be from sitting at the computer for 6 hours and just staring at a screen and typing and editing and whatever? Man, it sucks, dude. I was yesterday, I couldn't do anything. And I'm at the point now when I'm exhausted, I'm just mad about it. Because I feel like it's time that's just slipping away from me.
Yeah, especially for me where I'm a person where I'm always rest is productive, which I believe that. I do think that rest is really important.
I would say rest is necessary to be productive. Rest itself is not productive.
Resting is a verb. So to me, that means it's productive in the sense that you're restoring yourself.
Okay.
But, this is not the debate team. That's actually not true. That actually would have been a great name for our podcast.
Debate team?
Debate team.
We're not changing the name again. No, because we don't always debate. Sometimes we're in unison.
Most of the time, we're debating.
You think so?
100%.
We're literally debating how often we debate.
Exactly. But yeah, I find rest is difficult for me, and I'm actually working on, if I'm choosing that I just need a day to rest, to once I make that choice, that's the choice.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I spend the whole day being well, I'm tired and I need to rest, but I really should be doing something else. And then it's not even restful because the whole day I'm kind of berating myself that I should be doing something else.
I relate very much, but I've gotten better about it, but it's hard. But you have an excuse because you're in your 3rd trimester, growing a human. It would make sense that you're pooped out. I think I don't know if I'd say you underestimated how exhausting being pregnant is, but I think it's been eye-opening to go through it yourself.
Well, you don't know,
I said this to you before. I think we do women a disservice by how kind of...
Period.
Sure, yeah. Well, I I guess just I never really spent a lot of time thinking about like how difficult it is to work through your pregnancy, but it seemed like it was pretty commonplace. Like to me, it just felt like, yeah, until you're like right about to give birth, women just stay in the workforce. That's like just the perception I had, and I gotta say, I don't think we should. I mean, if you want to, if you really are adamant about your career and you want to stay in the workforce, that's great. Like more power to you, and we should make accommodations to try and help make that happen if someone so chooses. But I don't think we should like actively like push it, because I gotta be honest, man, I've been watching you be pregnant the past 6.5 months. I don't think it's a good idea for most pregnant women to feel obligated to keep working through this.
No, I think we need an island and we all just go there and there's just fruit bars and like pedicure baths.
The problem is most careers aren't sustainable if you take like a year off.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of opinions on that.
I'm listening. I'm not against.
No, I'm just saying that like it is wild because everybody like, I don't know. I was kind of thinking about it, but it's like I've kind of like written some jokes about it, but I'm like, I'm going to do like 4 stand-up sets maybe and then no longer be pregnant,
Yeah.
But it's true. I'm just like,
Well, you'll be pregnant again at some point, God willing.
Sure. But everyone's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I don't know what the answer people are expecting you to give. Like, I know when people ask, or at least the folks that have asked me, I know they're genuinely curious. And, why I'm not good at small talk is because the only time I'm good at small talk, Trader Joe's. The bank.
Dude, you crush small talk in the Trader Joe's cashiers.
I'm so good at it.
You love it.
I'm so good at it.
Yeah.
We're 2 for 2 weeks here with talking about TJ's.
Are we?
I think last week we did too.
Dude,
That's true, because I think I talked about how I always utilize people's name tags.
There is a Trader Joe's podcast. I've not listened to it, but when we go there, I see like their little sandwich board. It's like, listen to our podcast. So Trader Joe's, if you want to sponsor our podcast to promote your podcast,
that's when I know I've made it. I'm not kidding.
when Trader Joe's,
Free product from Trader Joe's all day.
Yeah.
It really is a place that makes me really happy. I feel happy when I'm there.
I will say, I was never like anti Trader Joe's or anything like that, but I hadn't really taken the time to go there before we got together.
But you thought it was expensive. You thought it was like a Whole Foods
I didn't
situation.
realize because the reason is because most of the items in Trader Joe's are only sold at Trader Joe's. So in my mind, I was like, oh, that means it's like high end and like expensive, etc. So I was just going to Ralph's and other,
Yeah, to me, Ralph's, sad place. I don't know. It makes me sad.
No, Trader Joe's really, I would say, other than like the expensive ones like Whole Foods or Sprouts or Wegmans. Wegmans is good. But what those places do, and Trader Joe's does this, is they make it like an experience.
Yeah.
Like Food for Less, dude, you want to get out of there ASAP. I mean, Food for Less is... I will say, too, in general, if there's a bank inside your grocery store, it's not a fun grocery store. Like, it's rare.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's like an optometrist in the grocery store, probably not like that's an experience, but not a good one. Whereas, you know what I mean? Whereas like Wegmans has like an oyster bar.
Yeah.
That's a dope ass.
That's in Virginia, right?
They're all over the East Coast, I think.
Okay.
But
we went there like on an experience when we were in Virginia.
Oh yeah. My mom, Arlene Gettlin, loves Wegmans. It's nice though, man.
It's not well as a lover of flowers, I'll tell you I appreciate their flower section.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also because I'll tell you what, Trader Joe's, they're stepping it up with their flower section.
Depends which one you go to, but yes.
I like Trader Joe's, but it's always so crowded there.
No, you got to go at the right time. See, Rachel and I, we found it.
When do you guys go?
Well, we go first thing in the morning, right when they open. And so they have like quote unquote senior hours, which I understand. You
pretend you're seniors.
No. But we go right when senior hours end. And the thing is, the one we go to, I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to spoil the secret, but it's brand new. It's less than a year old. It's beautiful, and there's not a lot of old folks in that area, I think. So the senior hours are pretty empty. So at like 9, right when senior hours end, there's nobody there. It's just us.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I'm so excited. That is how pre-dad lame I've become. Is that planning out when to get like we're planning Trader Joe's shopping, like getting to Coachella early.
I mean, but here's the thing. Like, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, give me this. You know
Sure.
what I mean? There's not a lot that I do that's like, quote unquote, fun anymore. Okay. Especially right now, I'm pregnant. I can't even pop a little CBD and take a bath. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, speaking of being pregnant, I did find something and I was like, man, I would love.
Wait, but can I finish
sure.
telling about my experience being pregnant? Because you just talked about your experience of me being pregnant.
Yeah, of course. I thought you had finished. I didn't mean to cut
That's
you off.
all right.
Yeah, we were talking about women in the workforce being pregnant.
So when people are like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, it's so crazy because I don't feel, and even as much as now we have this culture that's emerging, and again, I think it's just because of like the speaking work that I do and really, being a part of the conversation of mental health and kind of self-awareness. So to me, it's a very vibrant conversation, but that's also because I'm choosing my algorithm to present that conversation to me. I don't think it's actually as prevalent as it feels to me. But it's wild because even the conversation around, infertility or like miscarriage, things like this, is such a new conversation around like postpartum depression. And so there's all these things around pregnancy because all we've presented is this 1950s, like Betty Draper of like mom just shows up and she's always perfectly done.
Yeah.
And she's pregnant and it's like everything's great. So I didn't really know outside of tropes of like
that just shows you that like social media, like people are like social media is so fake. It's like it was the same back then. They just couldn't like put it out to the whole world. It was for their immediate social circle.
Well, yeah, but I told you that joke that I was working on of like, don't blame this on millennials. You guys from the 50s had the whole phrase of like keeping up with the Joneses.
Oh, right.
Don't blame
yeah.
this on us.
We've always had that, man, because I remember learning that like the reason, I'm sure you've heard this from like history stuff in the past, like the reason people wear white at their wedding, do you know why this is?
Because it was supposed to be that it was like the nicest fabric, right? Because it was hard to keep white.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if you were really rich, you could afford brand new white cloth. And then it was like, look how elegant it is. And then you just had to like give off this image of like, everything's wonderful.
Remember when my original thing was I was going to ask everybody at our wedding to wear white, and you looked at me and you go, yeah, my people don't have that. That's what you told me.
Did I say that?
That was it. And that sentence alone, I didn't even push. I was like, that's fine.
I don't think, of all the...
My people don't do that.
My people, as if like, I don't know. What is that?
Also, we had 18 people at our wedding, so.
Was it that few? I think it was a few more. I think it was like 22.
Yeah,
You're like my
22.
people, like the Jewish people, or like our...
No, I think I meant like
I
my
think-
comedy
I
friends.
think just the thought of him trying, no, not for the 200-person wedding. That would be absurd.
Oh.
I was originally thinking of like, what are ways we could make our very small, intimate wedding like kind of fun?
But also, if somebody told me I have to wear all white to a thing, I'd have to go out and buy white pants
But that's
that
what
I'll never wear again.
But that's what I mean. Like immediately, you were just like, no, I'm not going to ask my 4 patrons
yeah, dude.
to buy white clothing.
This PSA.
I think you would look. Listen. We haven't been able to talk about the sun hats yet that we've purchased from Costco.
Yeah, I got a ticket to Georgia. We got these cool hats, man. Hold on, can I say something real quick? There's a very specific demographic of folks that can pull off an all-white outfit. Caucasian people generally, especially the dudes, not in that group. Black dudes look great in all white, like a Michael Jordan, like cue ball, fresh, like all white.
Yeah, linen suit.
Right.
I think you would look banging
In all white?
in a linen suit, dude. In the summertime,
I would look like
you look like you run a drug trade in the Mediterranean
Oh,
during the
because
summer.
I get tan.
You get
sure.
so olive skin. You turn into like you
Hey, man.
just showing up like just fresh shave, white linen suit. I'm like, who's that dude?
I would look.
I'll
No,
be a gangster's wife.
no, I would look like I'm trying to be Pitbull, the rapper.
That's even funnier.
I do not want to look like that guy. No disrespect, Mr. Pitt. I just don't. No, Mr. Pitt sounds like Brad Pitt.
He would be Mr. Bull.
Yeah, Mr. Bull. Well, it depends. In the South, we do Mr. and Miss first name.
That's true.
Our little adorable neighbors at your mom's house. There was like Miss Rachel,
Yep.
Mr. Alex.
I cannot wait to see them. I am so excited to see my little neighbor friends.
Did you have? I had something I wanted to show you, but I wanted to let you finish about the pregnancy stuff.
Okay. So I got off on the wearing white. Yeah, because we were talking about that. Okay. So taking us back. So because we're starting this conversation
Yeah.
around the realities of pregnancy.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting because admittedly, I honestly thought I was going to enjoy being pregnant more. This is not to say that I'm not every day like talking with Jonah and rubbing my belly and like really like genuinely not to be like hashtag, namaste, but genuinely giving gratitude to my body, to the universe that like we have a healthy baby. We're especially like
Yeah.
amid the pandemic, everything that's happening.
Dude,
like,
shout out to Dr. Dennis, by the way. Our OB. Like, if you guys are...
dude, we're going to do everything we can to get him on the podcast.
If anybody in LA needs an OB and wants a rec, Dr. Dennis Idua, is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Dude, aces all around.
He's awesome. But yeah, I certainly have like lived in that space. But I would say I like there's some people that are like, oh, it's so magical and this and that. And like, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the magical part is having the baby.
I will say you, in my assessment, are much more sensitive than the average person in terms of like this general discomfort,
This is true.
sounds,
This is true.
cramps, smells, just anything like that like makes you feel like your space is being invaded or your like physical presence is not in peak comfort. Way more, it affects you way more. It might be because you're sober. It might be because that's just how you are.
Yeah, I think I was meant to just like live on a farm I think I was just supposed to like have a lavender farm and like play an acoustic guitar or something. I think that's really what I was meant to do.
Well, it's so funny because through this whole pandemic, you'll go through phases where you're like, oh, I got to get out of the house. I'm going stir crazy. I haven't seen my friends. I haven't done anything. I got to go do something. And you'll be gone for like 4 hours. Come home. You're like, oh, that was a nightmare. It's like, what happened? You're like, there were some people in a place.
Duh. I need like Xanax to go to Target.
You're like, I went shopping and people were close to me. It's like,
well, okay, let's talk about that. Everybody needs to back up a little bit, all right?
Sure.
But it was hilarious because I was finally able to have some ladies over to our house, which we haven't had anybody over.
Mm-hmm.
And the three
girl
of us,
party.
The three of us have done so much work on our house, and it looks so beautiful and cozy. And we
It was a little intimate. What, like 5 gals and you?
had 5 gals over,
And you. So 6 total.
Yep.
What do they have to say about the house?
Oh, they loved it.
Yeah.
They really did.
It really puts into perspective the different like expectations around the country people have of like what home you should be living in when you're in your mid 30s. Like our friends back in Atlanta, really your friends, but my friends now by proxy to you. They have like beautiful homes. They're like large, and these are not rich folks. They're like comfortable middle class folks.
Yeah.
But they've got these big yards, big homes, or no one has a basement, but like big spaces, lots of
Some of them have basements. Anyway, semantics.
right. And then it's like, this is nice. And then here we have like a little townhome. It's been decorated cute, but it's still pretty cozy. I mean, it is not a lot of space.
Yeah,
and your friends are like, oh my God, you're like successful now. I mean, look at this is like amazing. And it's like, no, just in Los Angeles, we've accepted living like peasants in a box. It's the rent is so expensive here.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it was so nice to have everybody over, because I do like to make a cozy house. I want people to come over and feel comfortable. I want them to feel, good vibes, all those things. So it was nice to have them in my space. But I'll tell you what, by the time they were leaving, wasn't sad to see them go. And I love all of those women, but I was like, wow.
But it's funny because like you didn't drink, you didn't really party. You didn't go anywhere. There wasn't even music really. Like you just like.
Oh, we listened to the Beach Boys, baby. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was a happening time.
But I'm saying there wasn't like like it wasn't like you were out dancing.
No, it was just social interaction.
It was
for
literally
3
just
hours
snacks and tie-dye. That's what you did.
Dude, it was a blast.
But it's just funny that like that exhausted you.
Well, I also.
Like in your 20s, that would have been like a very mild pregame.
Yeah, I probably also would have been like, do you guys want to go get drinks now? like what are we doing here? Yeah, I feel like it's being pregnant I think the biggest takeaway for me, A, gratitude, and B, the adjustment of every day, allowing it to be different. And I have to recalibrate every day because I think if I have a fault, I'm kidding. I have many. But what I'm finding is because I'm so driven right now and we have all these projects and all these things that we're putting out, and I kind of have this time clock of like, oh, I have to get all of these things done by the time that Jonah's here so that I can focus and be at home for, 3 to 4 months and really just allow myself to focus on getting to know my baby and, creating this environment. And then some days I'm like, yeah, it might not happen, man. Like you're still in the process of getting to know your baby.
Well, just on the note of being pregnant, Scott, can you click that first link for us there? The one that, right there. You want to read this headline, Rachel?
What?
Yes.
Woman gets pregnant while already pregnant. Gives birth to twins.
So this apparently can happen sometimes. So,
well, I don't know. Obstetrician David Walker said, go back up for me just 1 second. Sorry. It said, it just doesn't happen. Obstetrician David Walker said.
Okay, scroll down if you want to read a little bit of this article here.
All right, I'm going to hit the high points because that's why they put them there now.
Yeah.
Also, how lazy are we? You can't read a fake article. This article is not really an article. It's like 2 paragraphs that are chopped up, and now they do that where they put the bullet points at the top.
Because we've done so much like breaking down the news between this and your Tracy character, we realize so much of like quote unquote journalism is just they'll put the headline basically rewritten in bullet form, and then the first sentence of the article is the headline again, and then there's like 2 other pieces of information that weren't that important.
That's why when people are like, "Oh, I get my news off of Twitter," and people give them shit for that, I'm like, no, that is the most succinct way to do it. Otherwise, you're going through articles like this and you're just reading bullet points.
I can just give you the highlights here.
Well, no, I'm going to hit it. I just wanted to comment.
Okay.
A UK woman conceived a second baby 3 weeks after conceiving the first. This rare condition is known as
fetation, I think.
Superfetation? That actually sounds like a name of a really good horror movie.
Superfetation. The fetus that ate the mom from the inside out.
Okay. Up to 2008, there had only been approximately 10 cases.
Worldwide.
Wow.
So it's not common. But I was just thinking about how exhausted and super pregnant you are. Because we've talked about having a second at some point. And you're like, I think I need like a year before we even.
I know, but then people say so much because of hormones. Like as soon as because that little baby smell. Ooh.
I don't know if I've ever smelled a brand new baby. I don't think I've ever been around a baby younger than 6 months.
It's a ride.
But I have started to. So anyway, just to wrap this article up really quick. So apparently,
I can't get too much into it because it freaks me out. It makes me terrified.
Well, the good news is it seems like it has to happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen now.
No.
And remember the day you're like, oh, what if we had twins? And I was like, what?
I still want twins. I'd love to have twins in our second go. Be awesome.
Absolutely not.
Dude, we already have a son coming. We'll have twin daughters. Get the whole gambit covered. Or 3 boys. That'd be fun too. Expensive because all the food they're going to eat if they're my kid. But
how would you feel about having 3 boys, Rachel?
Oh my God. It's so funny. Growing up, I always was wanted to have 3 boys.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Get your own version of Hanson.
And now, that's the goal.
It'd be called Gettlin, and it's a 3-piece band from our children.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? Look at Scotty. He's like, all right, that sounds good. Yeah. I'm into it.
You know what? You can make the front woman, Tracy, your character, Tracy Taylor in the Gettlin band.
That's very funny. That is very funny. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I'm also in this place of where I feel like there's some things that I know I have such clarity on in my life. And then this other part, and I'm just really trying to be cool about not knowing how this whole process is going to go.
Dude, I think it's going to be awesome.
But you don't have to be in labor.
I'll be there with you.
Yeah. I mean,
what else can I do?
I know. I'm not shitting on you. I'm just saying that it is wild because the other thing I have to remember and I hope to carry with me is both when people talk about having a baby or planning a wedding, don't give them any advice. Just let them talk. They don't need it. Even if what they're saying
unless they ask for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But otherwise
any advice? I cannot give it to you. Rachel told me not to.
Plead the fifth. No, but I just mean so many people, because there's so much fear that people create around. They're like, oh my God, it's so much pain. It's so much. And I'm like, why would you think that would be helpful? Why in the world would you think Especially when they're like, you
Yeah.
have no idea. And it's like,
so
oh,
annoying.
yeah, thanks.
Well, I just saw a buddy of mine recently, and he, he's talking about proposing to his girlfriend, and we were talking about like wedding stuff, and I was like, dude, I don't know. If it were me, I would recommend, from my experience, keep it small, keep it intimate, keep it low stress. But some other folks are like, no, you want to have the big party, you want to do the thing, and I'm like, I'll just tell you what I did, and it was dope.
Or what I would tell people, but this is, and again, like this is the old school Southern belle in me, but it's like, you can't, because really what I would maybe suggest for people is like the actual ceremony, keep that like your closest friends and family,
yeah.
and then invite everybody to the party. Because once you're at
Sure.
the party, then it's like, whatever. But there is a lot of.
But would you do it on the same day?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people do that, but then there's like the old school etiquette of like, well, you can't invite somebody to the party if you didn't invite them to the wedding. But I'm like, why? Most people don't actually care about your ceremony.
It's true. You know what's funny is one of the first weddings I went to, it was in New York. So like a bunch of our college buddies lived in the general area. So my friend, like the ceremony and the dinner was like maxed out at capacity. But they had an after party like at this cool like upstairs venue in the same building, and because all the old people left, he got to invite a bunch of the friends who were like on the B list to come to the after party.
And that's all you guys cared
Dude,
about anyway.
it was awesome. At like midnight, like 20 dudes that were like college buddies with rolled up. We're like, whoa! And we're like, we're all hammered, and they're all hammered because they were out like in New York doing other stuff already. And they get there, and there's like and it's all like
these people got married clearly early in your 20s.
yes,
Yeah,
they were like
yeah.
24, I think.
Yeah. You can't really. The older you are, it's that
Sure.
that allure kind of.
But
goes away.
it was like they showed up to this after party, and it was the perfect like late night buffet. It was like chicken wings, tater tots, pizza, like all the like bar food you want to have when it's like you're already housed and it's like 1 a.m.
Such a simple man, Gettlin.
I was.
Well,
Now I'm preparing for fatherhood.
okay. But I will say, going back to the all white party, that when we do throw our 5-year vow renewal,
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do. Everybody's wearing white. We're gonna do like a big.
What's
summer
with the all
party.
white thing? I think
Because it's cool. It
I
makes,
think okay. I'll say to me, it's played out. Diddy already did it a bunch and ruined it.
wow.
Not ruined it, but like
Wow.
made it like it's. I don't know.
Hold on. Diddy hasn't. We haven't had enough time that he's now back to Puff Daddy. I would think that like in the timeline of him changing his names, we've now gotten back to the beginning.
I don't know what he's going by. Sean Combs, however you identify, I respect that. Yeah, can you look up what he looks? Yeah, how does Sean Combs identify himself? Yeah.
Let's see.
It's hard to. Yeah, this is like
I mean, he might just be going by Sean Combs.
maybe.
But anyway, either way, now it's almost 4 years from now. We're gonna throw a huge party in the summer and do
Sure.
a vow renewal and have everybody there and get to do the party and get to do a food truck, the things that we didn't get to do the first time around.
Wait, this says Sean Diddy Combs is legally changing his name from Sean John Combs to Sean Love Combs. What? Yeah, click on the one that says, what's Puff Daddy's current name? This is from 2019. I don't know, man. Who cares?
Well, no, now we need to follow. Okay.
Sean John Combs, the artist previously known as P. Diddy, Love briefly, and then just Diddy is now legally changed his name to Sean Love Combs.
Wow.
It should be Sean Loves Combs. And he just has a comb selection.
I
Different
just-
combs he's selling.
I'm also just so impressed of like, do you know how hard it is to change your name? Like, I haven't even started the process because I'm like, too much paperwork.
Yeah, but when you're that rich, you just pay people to do it for you.
Yeah, but still.
You just pay
You still have to ask other people to do it.
Yeah, but you just pay an attorney and they'll do all the work. That's the thing that's what I've also learned from just shooting our own show and editing it myself and all that stuff. It's been really fun and we're learning a lot and it's been really exciting. But man, there's so many little tasks here and there that if we just had like real money, I'm like, oh my God, I would save so much time.
Well, that was what I learned when I was first getting sober of like how long it actually takes for domestics. Like the amount of time in your week of like properly cleaning your house.
Oh, like chores.
Going
Domestics? I think of flights when I hear domestics.
sure. But like,
Yeah,
going to
food prep.
yeah, going to the grocery store, like
Yeah.
coming home, prepping the food, getting everything together. Like, I mean, not that my house, I'm a clean freak, so it's not like my house was in disarray, but just like properly taking care of yourself and staying on top of stuff like that alone, that's 10 hours.
That's the
10 hours. hours out of your week.
That's like the most absurd thing. Remember, like after last year's Super Bowl, when people were like, "Doesn't J-Lo look amazing at 50?" And it's like, yeah, dude, because she has like world-class chefs and trainers to like give her perfect workouts, immaculate meals that are all healthy, and it's like she doesn't have to spend any time doing anything that isn't like focused on making her look perfect on TV.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. Anytime they try to compare celebrities to like the everyday woman, I'm like, no,
Come on,
like,
dog.
Are you kidding me?
Well, that's the other thing too about like, I follow a fair number of like fitness dudes on Instagram for little like workout tips, but then like I look at these guys and it's like, man, they look like they look impeccable, and it's like, oh, their whole life, like from sun up to sundown, is just working out, measuring out their meals properly, getting those photos. That's it.
That sounds so
Boring. It sounds pretty boring. I'd rather have a few extra lbs and do what we do.
I would just rather be interesting.
Yeah, that too. Oh, okay. Speaking of interesting, I have one other thing I want to show you, because we've seen a lot of things this past year of like, is this what we're trying now? Like the thing at the theme parks where they told people not to scream on the roller coasters because it was going to help spread COVID.
I still feel like somebody started that as a bit and they're shocked.
Well,
that it's taken over.
Scott, can you click that second article right here? The one with the, yeah. Here we go.
Okay. Researchers create nose-only COVID-19 masks to wear while eating. Researchers in Mexico have sniffed out a new COVID-19 mask designed for people to wear only over their schnozzes while they eat, according to a report Wednesday. This is not journalism. Journalism is dead.
There is no more journalism. That's the thing. My dad is a career journalist, and he hates what has become journalism now. But just scroll down. That's pretty much the whole article. But scroll down to the photos here. So this is the thing. It's just a mask for your schnoz. Look at this guy. Mexican scientist Gustavo Acosta Altamirano. I'm sorry, sir, if I mispronounce your name.
Altamirano.
Altamirano shows his new innovation, a nasal mask that goes under your regular COVID-19 mask.
It looks so dorky.
So scroll up a little bit, click the arrows, because there's a gallery here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I want to get Rachel's reaction. I mean, what would you think about if you, in all seriousness, right? Because nothing this year, and I think most folks are trying their best, but nothing this year would surprise me at this point. What if we went to a restaurant and you were like, oh, by the way, we do have nose masks for everyone to wear at the table. So they told you could take off the mouth part, but you had to wear the nose covering while you're eating.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't eat there.
Look at this.
Everybody look, do you remember the show Zoobly Zoo?
I know the name. I don't remember.
Did you ever can you try Googling Zoobly Zoo?
The funniest thing is
Zoobly
the way it looks the way people who are anti-mask wear their masks.
Zoobly Zoo. There we go.
Okay, let's see here.
So go to images. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like people have like the pig nose or the animal noses on.
So that's what everybody looks like.
But oh my God, but it's just the COVID mask. Yeah, at least put like a drawing on it, like a funny mustache or,
What a weird show that was.
I feel like that would scare me as a kid. I don't know.
I mean, I was really into it.
I do wonder how bizarre it's going to be. Like, we have a whole generation of little kids who are perceiving the world now. When you're out in public, people wear masks. When that goes away, if it ever does, but at some point, within a year or so, hopefully, how much of a bizarre adjustment is it going to be for kids to just be like, wait, we don't do that anymore? Isn't it?
I mean, I guess, but also kids that are under the age of 5 live in a meta state. They have they're not going to be like, well, wait, they're not logical.
Sure.
They're not going to be like, why did we have to do that? That seems,
And from the kids I teach, I think they'll be very happy to not have to wear masks anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I hope it's all done by the time Jonah is like 1, so it's not.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I have one other funny thing I wanted to show you. Click that last one, Scott, or the one with the.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. Just try and thank you. Yeah. This is just a funny video I found. So.
Oh my gosh! Foul play. Swan harasses UK town by knocking on doors for hours.
So just click play on this video real quick. Yeah, and make it full screen. So it's this video, I just love a good, adorable find on the internet. And yeah, it's just this swan in this UK town just goes and bangs on people's doors, and I guess it's driving the neighbors nuts. And it'll like grab its beak at the little mail slot and try and so you're just at home doing your thing, and it's like squawking. It's trying to get in there.
That is so bizarre.
Right? I do wonder. It's just, yeah, look at that.
I feel like somebody got that swan high.
You know, I used to live in Boston, and wild turkeys are pretty prevalent there. And there was a lot of times, you know, not in the city proper, but just a tad outside. You would just be walking around, and turkey. I don't know if you've seen a turkey in person. Oh, you have, the turkey farm where your grandma lives. They're big, and people's like, you know, yards will be out there, and turkeys just.
But turkeys are notoriously scary. I don't think there's a lot of stories of like
swans are very aggressive. They are, but they're just not popular. But they're hyper aggressive. I know this.
I feel like swans are popular.
Geese are swans and geese the same thing? I think they're a little different.
They're different.
I know
They're
geese
different.
are very.
Swans are like, they're well liked, but they're not common. Is a better word, I should say. Like you don't see swans around the way you see like ducks around in general.
Sure.
But in Boston, where I live, there were these swans that lived. They were like brought into like the common, like the
Sure.
Central Park. What was it called? I forget the name. But there's a little pond there, and yeah, you had to stay away from them. They were aggro.
The swans.
Yeah,
I did not know this.
yeah.
I also like that they're just assuming the swan didn't have a motive because it was like, swan doing this for no reason. You don't know. Did you ask? We don't know. Maybe there was a reason.
Boo.
What?
Sure.
I don't think that's that out of line.
Okay. Well, I have one other.
He thinks there's something tasty there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. So one last thing I found that I thought would be funny to talk about. So a lot of states have legalized cannabis finally, as they should, and I didn't even consider this, but now there's a whole network of drug sniffing dogs they have to untrain to search out cannabis. So this is a funny thing I found.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there were a bunch of dogs out of work.
Oh, yeah, I guess that too. But so now these different police departments have to spend all this money training their dogs to only sniff out other drugs and not marijuana.
Which is crazy because I don't know of any other drug that feel like I'm like, that's potent. Like if somebody smokes weed, like, you know, sorry. If somebody smokes weed, I feel like it's a very specific scent.
Yeah, well.
But I've never been like, somebody doing blow right now? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that's like never.
I guess you can't really smell it unless it's in your own nose.
Yeah, but it still doesn't have a scent.
Well, for dogs it does.
Sure, but I'm
Yeah.
just for the.
Actually, they can train dogs for a lot of stuff. You know, remember Jared from Subway who was like, he got caught with
pedophile?
Yeah. You know how they caught him? So he had like a hard drive or some kind of flash drive with like all this terrible, like, you know,
Child porn. Yeah.
yeah, on the thing hidden somewhere in his house. And they have dogs that are trained to sniff out like electrical parts because people will hide stuff on flash drives, hard drives, etc. And they brought a dog to search his house and they found it like hidden in a couch or a wall or something.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. Can you?
But I could see somebody smelling a hard drive. Like that has more of a scent to me.
A hard drive has a scent to a human?
I feel like the mainframe of something, I feel like that has more of a scent.
The motherboard, I think you mean?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know much about hard drives. I know they smell. I don't know. I can smell everything now. You know what else they should do? They should hire a bunch of pregnant women.
Drug sniffing pregnant
'Cause
ladies?
I can smell everything.
That's so funny, right? Yeah. Somebody gets pulled over and like, okay, just hang tight. We're bringing the pros in. They think it's a canine. And then you show up, you're like, all right, fellas, let's do it. And you're
Yeah. I just want me like 8 months pregnant, like with a German Shepherd who's also a smelling, like it's just like freaking frack. And like we just have our own series.
sure.
Like on A&E, oh man, it's just like a madam, but she's just got a harem of pregnant women that work for her to smell out crimes. I'm sorry, that's amazing.
You should write it.
In all my spare time.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Okay.
that's all I have for news today. I just thought it was funny to.
That's interesting. I wonder how they do that.
It's just the same. You reinforce other stuff. I think the way they train dogs to find drugs is what they do is they'll have the dog smell the drug, and then they'll give it like they have their favorite toy, and then they just reinforce like when you find this, you get this toy. So I don't know. I'm assuming they just do some kind of reverse engineering of it.
Interesting.
But yeah, this dog was trained to sniff for marijuana, methoxetamine. I don't know what that is.
I think it's meth.
That would make sense. Yes. Yeah.
Just misspelled.
It should be methamphetamine, but it's methoxetamine. Heroin, cocaine, and ecstasy. Yeah. So
Interesting.
But it's just funny. It's like, all these dogs. It's just because he was saying the problem is because you would think like let him still smell the weed. Who cares? But the issue now is if they pull someone over and they think there's drugs and the dog reacts because it's cannabis, it'll throw out like in court. It's like you can't use it because it's like there's too many gray areas. There's a lot of news that's happened, but I try to find fun stuff. There's a lot of like
there's a lot going on right now.
and I don't know. I don't really want to get into that unless you want to.
No, I didn't get enough sleep.
Okay, because I figured we're exhausted from producing the show. We're flying to Atlanta on Wednesday. We got to conserve our energy. You're super pregnant.
I mean, but that's the thing where I'm like, I have such an appreciation for my ability of like top energy.
What does that mean?
Like meaning like now I like when I'm able to like work out at the ability that I was able to pre-pregnancy and have the sustainable energy the way I did before. Well, let me be fair. I'm never going to have the sustainable energy I had before my pregnancy.
Okay.
But being able to be back at that kind of like level of performance.
Sure. We'll get there.
What a dream.
I know.
What a dream.
Yeah.
I mean, because feeling this, that's the other thing. When people are just like, baby kicks. And I'm like, yeah, baby kicks. It's really uncomfortable.
I just think you're way more no, I don't think. I know you are just way more sensitive to all of that stuff than the average person.
Maybe.
I'm positive. Because we'll be in
I don't know. Maybe all these ladies are lying.
No, I think you're just... Because we'll even just when we're in Costco and you're just immediately like, sir, thank you. Yeah, just texting and walking. Okay. Like you just...
I mean, Costco, because those people, I mean, everybody there, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
You're at a loss for words.
Because I mean, also, I am envious of people who live in their own world and are so unaware that anybody else is around. I mean, it is astonishing to me that people will just like walk out in front of you, leave their cart in the middle of the aisle. Like, I'm just like, I'm sorry, is this your Costco? Are you Mr. Costco? Get out of the way.
God, it'd be so funny if somebody's last name was Costco. How annoying would that be, right?
Well, especially because you could never call them by their first name.
Yeah.
It was Mark Costco? No, dude, you've been Costco since you were like 6.
Stuart Costco.
Yeah.
Stewie Cos, bro.
Stewie Cos.
I just like abbreviating names.
I know.
Yeah, but this week was really I don't know. Do you feel the same? I don't know what it is about maybe something with me, but when I've like got to the point where when I'm exhausted, I don't even think like I'm going to relax. Like it makes me like mad. I'm like mad I have less energy.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because we have so much to do. I have a to-do list in my phone.
I think that's the issue.
And every time I like take something away, then you replace it with something else, which is just called being an adult.
Being an adult and actively building a career that's like it's on the up, but it's certainly not like where you want it to be.
But it's also at like, dude, I'm going to be 35 in 2 weeks.
35 and feeling alive.
Sure. And I'm grateful for everything I have, and it's great and whatever. And like, I'm aligned. I'm living the life of my dreams. But also, like, yeah, I've been building this career for like over a decade.
We got to do one of those.
Mama's tired.
We got to do one of those photos when it's like 35 years and 35 weeks, and it's like right before you're about to give birth.
Sure.
He could come at 35 weeks.
No, he can't. Why do you keep saying that?
When is it supposed to be like we're good to go?
Anytime after like 38 weeks is healthy.
Oh, okay.
35 weeks. You've said that a few times, and it's really troubling to me.
Why?
Because he would be like in the NIC unit.
Well, I'm not actively hoping for that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
As if I am controlling when our get out of here. What?
No, but I'm just saying you've said it a lot, and it like you're like that'd be cool, right? If you came when your dad was in town. I'm like, dude, that's the end of May. No.
I didn't mean specifically he arrived earlier than he's supposed to. I meant just if your dad's coming back to visit and help us get some stuff fixed up around the house. And it'd be cool if he just by circumstance it was at the time when it was like ideal for him to be born and your dad happened to be in town.
Sure. I'm just stoked for our house to be done.
It's pretty much done.
I know.
This is not interesting to the listeners, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you guys care about
Probably not. Probably not. That's how tired we are.
Typically we're debating but what are the ethics of capitalism?
I know,
or
but that's the
when
thing.
is a riot not only okay?
It's like I woke up and there was the another shooting in Minneapolis and all the rioting that's happening and everything else. And yeah, when I woke up this morning and that's what I was like reading about on my phone. And I'm like, just, the fatigue is real.
I will say,
real.
I did see one thing where it's like, it's always funny to me when these like legacy mainstream news outlets like troll each other. It's always like CNN versus Fox. And it's like, oh, you guys are idiots. Like, I don't trust any of them but I saw a thing where CNN ran a story basically shaming Fox because they're like the celebrity anchors on Fox weren't doing like vaccine selfies and all the people at CNN were. And so CNN was basically shaming like Hannity and Tucker Carlson and the other people that are like the quote unquote stars of Fox for not like promoting getting the vaccine by doing selfies with their vaccine card.
That's insane. I also am just still I shouldn't be surprised, but there's been a couple of times now, obviously, because more and more people are vaccinated and stuff like that. And we talked all about the vaccinations last week, but like, I'm just still so shocked by people's like they've just decided it's one way.
Oh, I'm not. People just want to go. People are just mad. They want their life back. I thought you were going to say you're surprised at how, like, all of the like, look at me, I got vaccinated. Like,
no, people love social media so they can show people how good they are.
But you know what's funny? I really had like a moment of like, oh, this is all nonsense. When after the election, everybody's like, look at my I voted thing, and then. It's like weird because people are so stoked to be like, you did it, you voted. And then if you vote, like, you're just like, you did your civic duty. And then I told people I voted libertarian. And then a lot of folks were like, you idiot, you wasted your vote. It's like, what? So what is it not? I voted? Is it like I voted the way you want me to? You should update what you're, which is it, asshole? Like, you know what I mean?
But you're so right. But that's what I mean. Where I'm just like, I've found as much as I will like debate and go toe-to-toe with you like in this space and with other people that are looking at these conversations as multifaceted. But when people start talking about things in such like black and white parameters, I am the most uninformed person. Like just suddenly when people are talking about it, I could not be more silent.
We have a couple funny comments.
Oh, let's hear them.
Okay, so Tucker says, who cares about CNN versus Fox? All I care about is Wendy's versus Burger King.
Dude, Wendy's all day. Tucker, I'm curious your opinion, but if anybody chooses, in terms of fast food rankings, Burger King has got to be at least like 8 down. If you really look at like the options,
Okay, so what are your top 5?
Well, it depends how you decide fast food. Like, is Five Guys fast food?
Yes.
Okay. And then does it have to be nationwide? Like, In-N-Out isn't nationwide.
No.
It doesn't be nationwide.
No.
Okay. So then my top 5, Five Guys for sure.
Okay.
Taco Bell, obviously. Del Taco.
Wow.
Chick-fil-A. Controversial, I know, but come on, you can't beat those. And I guess In-N-Out, but it's a weak 5th. I think it's massively overrated. It's fine, but the hype does not live up to the burger. What are some other comments?
So Ricky says, if they give you a sticker, he's talking about the voting, as an adult, it's a psychological operation.
He's right, man.
That's so true.
It's totally true. Well, and it's just so funny when people are like...
That's so funny. I haven't even thought about that angle of simply that we get stickers.
I know, right?
That's so funny.
You know who else gets stickers? Children, when they go to the pediatrician.
Yeah.
You did it. And it's like...
But that'll show you like how like everybody just thinks we're so evolved. we're so evolved and we're all just so above it.
Well, it's like the funny.
And here we all are smiling with our frickin' stickers like idiots.
The funny thing is, like, having a true democracy is a great thing, you know, if that were to exist. It doesn't. But so the idea of like voting, doing your civic duty in a true democracy is great. So I think people like get excited, quote unquote. But the concept of just, you know, vote, whoever you vote for, just make sure you vote. No one actually believes that.
Well, I also think a lot of people, the incentive to vote is the sticker selfie.
It's so true.
I'm not kidding. Like, I think somewhere people know that like, we got to give these people an incentive, but it can't be anything too great. And somebody in the back was like, hey, Hal, what about a sticker? Someone's like, that'll work.
You know, a lot of countries, it's illegal if you don't vote. Like, they'll fine you. Brazil, I think Australia as well. It's required by law to vote, which I do also, you know, there's certainly a long history of voter suppression in this country, and it's still happening today. But I do think it's odd. We talked about this a little bit, that like people think having an ID or requiring ID to vote is problematic. It's like you can't literally do anything without an ID. I don't think the issue is like there is other issues around voting, like having it readily available, easily accessible especially for poor people. But like, if you make someone show ID, that's racist. It's like, what? Like, you can't even get government assistance without an ID. Like, you have to have an ID for anything.
Yeah.
Make getting an ID easier. That's not the problem. Like, it's weird that people push on that.
Well, it's not weird because, again, we've got 5 minutes left. I can't dive into that. That's too big of a chunk.
I was talking to Tucker about this, and he and I are in agreement. And it's just
okay.
I guess
maybe you'll chime in here. So.
I guess that wasn't a qualifier necessarily. I'm just saying.
It's like,
well, what I'm really saying here is it's just, to me, an example of another media narrative that they just manipulated to try and get us worked up. It's like asking someone to show ID isn't
right, but I think it's also like that was part of like, I mean,
you
and
can't.
I'll
You literally
just say
can't do
this again.
anything without an ID.
Sure, but I think that's also nitpicking that, which is like Georgia's reform of their voter suppression is strictly to get Black and brown people to not vote, and I'm not hearing any other argument.
No, I'm not saying there aren't factors of voter suppression that are happening. I'm just saying the specific one of saying you should have to have an ID to vote.
Sure, I hear you, but I'm also saying I think the bigger issue, again, what is the most problematic or punching down is that Stacey Abrams, a Black woman, was able to, you know, like cultivate this entire movement of change and represent voices that have been suppressed in the South, specifically in Georgia, forever. And so the fact that she was able to do that, and there are old school lawmakers who are still very racist, even if just like socially, meaning that they're like microaggressions. They might not identify as hateful, but they're really effing angry that a Black woman was able to do that. And so they have initiated all of these laws. So
I would say yes, but I think a Democrat first is what they're mad about. I think they're
oh no, not at all. Are you kidding? Thinking about an old school white man in power in Georgia that has made all of the rules, that has not been challenged, and a Black woman, because in our society, Black women are definitely the bottom of the totem pole. And we have done that very strategically over a very, very long time. And she's charismatic, she's powerful, and she was able to really do something that needed to happen. That's enough to send somebody into a tailspin.
So Tucker chimed in with a couple other things.
What do you say?
He said, make Election Day a federal holiday. And
Amen.
Hours to 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes.
And then he says, and yes, I agree with you agreeing with me.
There you go.
He said, I'm just as skeptical of claims of voter suppression as I am claims of voter fraud. There's just no evidence either way, especially this past general election.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's right.
I feel like the last general election was pretty fair and made sense. I don't know, even when everybody was like, the votes are coming in late, and it's like, yeah, because we also know, I mean, whatever, that's to go backwards. Who has that kind of time? But
yeah, I think it's all just going to get more absurd as time. I honestly believe that. You know, because every narrative that gets pushed turns out to be complete nonsense. Like, there's no proof of it. So, but we don't care because we just get caught up in the headlines. I'll give you 3 examples. And
oh wow, okay, that's a lot.
No, just like three narratives that were pushed really strongly, and that later came out. It's like there's no evidence to back this up.
Okay.
One, what's that smirk on your face? What?
I'm here for it, baby. Give it to me.
One, the narrative that Trump was, Russian collusion and the Trump campaign colluded with Vladimir Putin to get Trump into office for the 2016 election. After every investigation and court proceeding, there was truly nothing to back that up. That Trump basically was on that call in Georgia and like committed some kind of crime by being like, find the votes. Like, do you remember hearing about this?
Honestly, I blacked out.
But either way, and then the idea that like it was an organized insurrection at the Capitol and it wasn't just like a bunch of idiots like storming the building. Like, I'm just saying these narratives get pushed and then we're all like, yeah, seems like it makes sense. And then months later, it turns out like, oh, we got it wrong. But we've already moved on with everything. Nobody cares. And that old narrative just lives in people's brains because it's too hard to go back and be like, yeah, the media, they messed up.
Yeah, but again, I hear what you're saying, but I also, where my anger comes from is like, there is still very big particles of truth to all of those things that need to be assessed. The problem to me is that the media blows everything out of proportion because they want to elicit a response and they want to elicit the really big responses, which is anger, right? You can get somebody angry. Anger is hard to see. You can't see through it, right? It becomes all consuming. And so if they can get you angry about something, then you're not even going to entertain facts or what really happened because you're just going to sit in your own anger, right?
Yeah.
And so, there are a lot of aspects of that. Like, I don't think like, sure, maybe, how are we quantifying that the insurrection was like organized? Still the fact that all of these people showed up and frankly, I still think, again, it's like the optics. If those were all black people, every single one of those people would be in jail and or would have been shot on the spot.
I'm not really
I know, let me talk. That I'm saying that, there's still huge elements of those three things that happened that need to be addressed. The problem, which is where, I'm really trying to utilize my voice, which is all of these things are multifaceted. We simply live in a society where having a multifaceted conversation is actually about educating ourselves and asking ourselves to look at, our world from a real perspective. And that's not interesting. It doesn't cause, divisiveness. It doesn't help like vote left or right. It doesn't we now just kind of live in this cycle of wanting to rile everybody up constantly in the name of selling papers.
Yeah, I'm just simply saying
people don't read the paper anymore.
I know getting clicks is what you meant. I didn't feel the need to correct you until you corrected yourself, but here we are. I'll wrap it up soon with this, but I was just saying simply.
Then I would still like to give my top 5 of fast food because you didn't ask me. I thought that was kind of rude.
Okay, I was only yes, we'll do that in a second. I was only saying what I've noticed is where we're at now is either side of the spectrum they can push a narrative whether it's true or not, and then later it turns out, oh, that was false, but there's no consequence, and people don't seem to even care about the correction. They're still leaning on like, but
that's about Hillary's emails. Everybody still brings
Sure,
that up. And
right.
It's like,
great
we
example.
also found out that that was all
there's nothing
pretty
there.
much bogus there too.
Yeah, it's like she broke the law, but it's like, but who gives a shit? It wasn't really anything that big of a deal.
Well, it's like, oh, she broke the law, but she's a lifetime politician. No shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's wrap it up with your top 5 can't speak.
Wow, you are this is us.
Let's wrap it up.
Talk about this
with
is us.
Rachel's top 5 fast food.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Well, Wendy's is on there for sure.
Oh wow, I forgot about Wendy's.
Dude, Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. You love.
Dude. It's don't even say it because now I'm like, we got to go get it when we leave here.
Let's get it on the way to the airport.
Ooh, on the way to the airport at 6 a.m.
Oh, I forgot how early our flight
I'm not
is.
gonna be.
Yummy.
I'm pregnant, but I'm not a monster.
Does Wendy's do breakfast?
I don't know because I only go to Wendy's for the spicy chicken sandwich.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your top 5?
I don't think I can put them in order.
Is he kicking?
Yeah, I got feet in my ribs.
Jonah wants Wendy's. He's kicking. He heard about that spicy chicken sandwich. He's like, "Come on, Mama, give it to me."
Okay. Wendy's.
Yep.
Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
Five Guys.
Okay. In-N-Out.
Can I? In-N-Out Jersey Mike's.
Oh, Jersey Mike's. But I forgot about. I guess that is fast food. See, that's where it gets kind of vague because to me, fast food requires a drive-through, and that's
Okay.
why I was like,
All
Five
right,
Guys
if we're
doesn't
gonna,
count.
Okay, then if we're gonna do strictly drive-through, yeah, then we're gonna go Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, Taco Bell, Wendy's. Or did I say Wendy's twice?
You said Wendy's.
Okay, you can put it twice.
Okay, yeah, Wendy's twice. Why not?
You know,
What's another one? I can't even think
Arby's.
of another. No.
Ugh.
Oh, Whataburger?
Mm,
I'll go Whataburger.
Whataburger. Yeah, yeah. I feel like on any list, Burger King never gonna make it. It's just
No, I mean their chicken fries are pretty decent, but how often are you like chicken fries?
never. I don't know if I've ever had them.
Really? They're pretty good. They're basically just like
Just chicken nuggets, but longer.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not a nugget. It's not a strip. It's a fry.
Yeah.
What's the difference? It's just shaped
I
different.
will say the experience of eating McDonald's is
Yeah.
always enjoyable, but 2 seconds after is awful, and I don't feel that way when I eat what.
It's gross.
But do you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
like I can eat all the other fast food that I mentioned, and feel like even Taco Bell.
Chick-fil-A feels like it's more actual, like real food than the other ones.
Yeah, but I feel that way about In-N-Out too.
Yeah. All right. Well, Scott, you want to give us your top 5 fast food since you're here?
Well, Chick-fil-A is definitely up there.
Yep.
Their sauce is amazing. I also like the waffle fries.
So good.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Dude, you know what the life hack is? We do this back in college. You get the waffle fries and the vanilla ice cream. You dip the fry as like a scooper in the ice cream. It is bomb, dog. Bomb.
It's your high treat.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a good high treat.
Dude, amazing. Okay, so
Why is there not a brand of edibles called High Treats?
there might be.
Seems like
Probably.
Seems
Sounds like
like
it's for your dog, though.
that's true. Well, could be. Our dog could use some High Treats. Okay,
Yeah.
True.
so give me. So you got In-N-Out.
Oh wait, sorry. Dude, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out's pretty good. A little over. I think I agree with Alex. I think it's a little overrated.
Yeah.
It's
good, but it's just the hype is too much.
Yeah. There's no such thing as high treats. It looks like
In-N-Out-
High treats.
In-N-Out now is like Obama in like 2015. It's like, okay, the hype was too much. It was cool, but now we've moved on.
I agree with Wendy's. Wendy's, I think their burgers are underrated. I like their burgers.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Their consistency is what's good.
Wait,
Like,
click on that one. It says pretty high. No, the third link, pretty high treats. What is this?
PrettyHighTreats.com.
Okay.
I don't know. Looks
oh
like a-
yeah, it is. So there's
It's like, apple pie, but with cannabis, I think.
Pretty high chai.
Ooh.
Dude, wow, High Chai? I didn't even think about that. What a great drink. Hey, High Chai, if you want to sponsor my show, highly unlikely, get at me.
Wow.
It looks like a blog of just like different weed stuff. I don't know.
It's so funny, man, how like weed culture in the 90s was just like burnout dudes. And then now it's like, a bunch of white ladies who were like, it's my wellness.
Yeah. I make my own like cannabis oils. All right, I think we've done it.
I think so too.
I would say in the grand scheme, if you're listening to this somewhere, I'm not going to apologize for today's episode. But if you're wondering how we're really doing emotionally and spiritually, now you know.
No, we're doing great. We're just tired.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no,
All right.
I mean, what the hell, man? We got a baby on the way. We're going to visit family for 3 weeks.
Dude, I'm actually living my best life. I'm
Yeah.
just tired and don't know what day it is.
You're married. You have this beautiful son who's about to be
He's
here.
literally kicking me in the ribs and it's like really hurting.
All right, let's get you some breakfast. All right, guys, I've been your host, Alex Gettlin.
I've been your very pregnant host, Rachel LaForce.
This is Common Ground. We are live on Facebook and YouTube every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can hear us on all the platforms. If you're listening now, you're probably listening to it on either Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all those places. And we're going to be out of town for 3 weeks. We're still going to do the podcast. It might be audio only. We'll see. Kind of have to figure out some tech stuff at home, but we might be live. Either way, just keep following us. You'll get to see all the cool stuff.
Yeah, take care of you. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.
Bye, guys.